In this video, I want to share with you some of the things that I would do and I would recommend that you do if you're preparing for an interview for a desired airline. Now, I am using the word desired for a reason. I'm assuming that this airline is a place that you want to work for, you've dreamed about, so you have a lot of reasons and a lot of drive to want to do the work that I'm going to share with you. And I call it work because it's going to take some time to do the digging, gather the information. But I want to assure you that if you can do all of this, you will be able to confidently answer some of the questions you are likely to face or be asked when you show up to an interview. If you're new here, my name is Steven, and on this channel, we talk about how you can get to achieve your dream in the aviation world. I will be honest with you, it takes a lot of time and effort to make these videos, so the least you can do is to drop a like and of course, say hi in the comment section. I would appreciate it. Now, without wasting much time, one of the things I will say right now is I am only focusing on how to answer airline specific questions. I'm not focusing on the technical aspect of things or just questions about yourself and your competencies. Those are for a different video. But for this particular one, let us talk about how to do your research for the airline. As it pertains to gathering information about a particular airline, I always recommend that you start with the About page. Every airline out there has an About page. When you go on that About page, you will see a lot of information, sometimes relevant, some are not. But I want to give you some guides here. The first thing is look for things like their mission, if it's stated. In their mission, there are keywords that are often given. And I don't want to list examples here because it's going to make this long, but look for things that are specific to the airline. So some airlines maybe focus on vacationing, right? And some focus on providing excellent customer service. Some focus on things like safety in their mission statement. That's what I mean, right? So you want to find those keywords and know how to use them, maybe in your motivation, maybe in your answers, maybe in even during interviews. The next thing is think about the goals that the airline has set. Now, usually you may see this on the About page, and sometimes you may not, but I'm going to share with you another place you would find this information. Once you check for the goals, see what is behind those goals. In the sense, are they trying to reach carbon net zero by a certain year, which most of the airlines nowadays are trying to reach, right? But that's a goal that they've set. There are other goals that airlines are trying to meet. Find that information and write it down. The next thing is think about the vision that the airline has. What are they trying to achieve? Now, the vision and goals can sometimes go hand in hand, but sometimes you may find specific vision that the airline has in terms of, 10-year vision, 30-year vision, 100-year vision, right? Things like that. You may find that information. So take the time to put that information down. Why is this important? Well, because when you show up to that interview, you want to be able to share with them that you buy into what the airline is trying to achieve, whether it's the goal, whether it's the mission, or whether it's the vision. The next thing that you may see on the About page is the commitment that the airline has. Commitment to what? Commitment to make the world better, commitment to make the lives of people better, to make the planet better, to make the lives of the people in the community better. Things of that nature can be found on that page. You may ask, why do I need to know the commitment of these airlines? Well, if you know those commitments, it shows that you are interested in working for the airline because you've done your homework. But then two, you are likely to find yourself things that you are interested in. So maybe they like to volunteer and donate to maybe the less privileged. And guess what? It might be something that really resonates with you that you also do already or that you would like to do. By you using that information in your answers will show that you are truly interested in working for this particular airline because you see yourself doing those things for the airline other than just being a pilot. Understand, every airline wants to hire a captain, but they want to hire you as a person. So that means you have to say things that are unique to you that puts you in a better light. The last thing I'm going to recommend about getting information for the particular airline is the application page. You see, when you look at the application page, there are certain words and keywords and competencies that are often listed on there. You want to be able to use that information as well in some of your answers or in just preparing for this type of interviews that you may have to do. Now, the next area that I'm going to recommend that you spend time on will be to review current events. Now, the reason why current events becomes important at this stage is, guess what? When you show up to that interview, they're likely to ask you questions like, hey, what are the challenges that the airline is facing? What have you read about the airline that is, that has inspired you to apply? Or why have you applied to the airline? Guess what? Those current events can be things that you can use in your answers. And the person that has asked you this question is likely familiar with them. So by you striking the chord on common information, not just things that are abstract, okay, to you or to the person, you're using information that the person probably knows, but demonstrates to the person that you have done your own work. When it comes to current events, the first place I will start with is the media center on the website. Understand that with the media center, you will see a ton of information that may be applicable and some may not be applicable. Some might be outdated while some might be recent. But I want to spend time to see what they've done in the most recent times, maybe a year, and pick out those that are applicable to the role that I'm applying. So for example, you want to be a pilot, then you want to think about things that are applicable to flying. So new routes, new destinations, a new base that they're opening, a new acquisition of aircraft, or retiring or retirement of airplanes. Those type of information can be vital, especially when you get to an interview. Maybe they started a new route to your country or a place that you love. Guess what? You can use that information to say, hey, one of the reasons why you've applied here is because you would like to see yourself as a pilot flying to that destination. That's something that I've used in the past, by the way. And it's not that I was not honest. That's genuinely what I wanted, So you have to find things that are unique to you and use that information to hopefully support your motivation as to why you've applied or the reasons why you want to work for an airline. Now, the next thing that you want to spend your time on the media center page would be maybe achievement and recognitions. You see, those areas can be very vital because it might be a reason to want to work for an airline, what the airline has achieved or why you want to be there. So what have they been recognized for in the past? The next thing will be challenges that the airline might have experienced recently. Now, those things can be important because they might ask you, what are the challenges facing the aviation industry? Or they might ask you, what challenges do you think the airline is facing? So some airlines out there are probably working through the union issues, when it comes to pay, which can be significant because it doesn't give a good brand recognition. Another one might be a cyber attack event that happened or the fire event that happened with a particular airline. Now, all of these are events and they pose a significant amount of challenge for the airline to walk through. And this might be answers that they are looking for because they want to see that somebody's abreast of this information in regarding the airline. The last but not least will be the social media pages like LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and the likes. All the social media pages should be checked just to see if there are any recent information that might not have made it to the media center page, but was publicly shared on those pages. Those could be very vital. The next thing also, when it comes to current events, think about partnerships. There are times when airlines will partner with one another and that information doesn't even make it to the about page or the media center page of the particular airline. And it's only made public on maybe the news. That's where those type of information can be found. Okay. So think about partnerships, and sometimes it may not be a partnership between airlines. It may be a partnership between an organization and the airline. Those type of partnerships could be important depending on what it is. And an example would be those airlines that partner with organizations that are pushing for sustainability or organizations that are pushing, to eliminate human trafficking and things like that. Those type of partnerships could be good talking points for you because maybe you are interested or you have a background in that type of environment. And that might be a reason why you are able to answer questions on maybe what the company is doing. All right. So think about those. And of course, initiatives will be the next one. What are the initiatives the airline is taking? What are the things they're working towards? This type of information can be very important. Now, of course, I always share good to know information in this aspect as well. And what do I mean by good to know information? Good to know information will be in doing your research. Hopefully, you're thinking about what you have coming up. So you have an interview coming up. How would you dress for that interview? What are the things you like to? How would you like to look for that interview? And this is where good to know information comes in. maybe their uniform style. Now, you don't have to dress exactly like them because you don't have their uniform. So if you're applying for a pilot role, then you want to wear something similar to what a pilot would look like or should look like, right? Why am I saying this? Because you would see, and I've heard people would wear certain things to interviews and it just doesn't look good. Maybe it's too flashy, or maybe it's just not appropriate. You have to do that. But of course, know that every airline will always give you the dress code for the day. But know that if you're applying for a pilot role, you likely want to look like a pilot when you show up for that interview, but not necessarily with the airplanes and things like that. But I'm just talking about, whether it's the type of tie, the color of suit, things like that. Now, the last but not least area that I would tell you to look into, where you are likely to get a lot of information, would be the corporate page. Now, when I say corporate page, it could be the investor relations page, investor page, corporate page, different terms. But the point here is, by looking at this page, you are likely to gather way more information that is readily available on just the website. So things like how the company has performed and dealt with challenges in the previous quarter or the previous fiscal year in this case. The next thing is good to know information. What is the company doing? So for example, some airlines would have in there how they've maybe made strides in diversity and inclusion, or how they've made strides in having a good ratio of female to male pilots, things like that. Those are just good to know information. But by you reading this type of data, you are likely to become more confident when you walk into that interview space and talk about the airline that you dreamed of. Another information you can gather on the corporate or investor relations page is the fleet information. That information can be crucial, especially when it comes to the age of the airplanes they fly. Maybe they are planning to retire some airplanes or acquire more airplanes in the future. Those type of information can be gotten from the investor relations or corporate page. The last but not least here would be the financial results. Of course, if you want to work for an airline, you want to see how the company is doing financially. And the reason why you want to know this is it helps you to also set your own expectations, right, in terms of how the company is performing. Are they making money? Are they losing money? And why? And hopefully, how are they planning to turn it around? Those things go a long way. Now, I hope that you found value in this one. If you have and you've stayed up until this point, please don't forget to drop a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in a future video.